We're here today with Al Reynolds from Jivestock. We're going to talk about original music and his process in his writing. And I'm Housecatnick, so let's check it out. So, do you remember how we met? We met at an open mic.
Yeah, we met at an open mic, probably pre-COVID. I mean, we have to divide the world into those two parts.
I discovered that you're an original songwriter. You have your own band, Jivestock, which is a four-piece, right, quartet?
Four-piece.
And you have, just name the band members.
So we have Charlie Peer on bass, Andy Rubo on drums, and Dr. Bob O'Hagan on guitar and harp and vocals. And really good chemistry in that band. It's always a pleasure to play with them.
You also have how many CDs out now?
Well, I have one CD officially out, which was not recorded with those band members, but with a prior group that I played with. But I didn't. It took such a long time to make and mix. In fact, during the time of mixing, the studio actually closed. And the end of it, I was mixing in the engineer's apartment, which was like sort of renegade guerrilla CD making. And the idea of it being a CD is shows you about the transitional period from how long it took to develop. But the band members then were a totally different band. Mm-hmm. On this CD I did, which was over 10 years ago now, but every track has a Hammond B3 with a Leslie or live piano. We did it all in the studio, and two great players who played with me out at different times, and were kind enough to lend their services for maybe a beer or two. So appreciate that. So here's to you guys, wherever you are.
Let's get down to your songwriting process. Who are your inspirations? Like, how what music do you listen to that gets the juices flowing? Or does it come out of the...
Yeah, it's more the latter. Everything. I listen to a lot of, as you know, I listen to basically everything that I consider soul music, and that could be country to soul to R&B to blues, certainly funk, anything with some real sort of it's hard. It's not the word gravitas isn't the word, but something that because that implies that it's all heavy, and it's not. All that roots stuff is really, really important to me, and I always felt like the stuff that grabbed me initially as serious music, and the stuff I still listen to today from the time I was 11 or 12 was okay. The Beatles, the Stones, all that stuff you hear when you're a kid, but then you start thinking about, well, what were these guys listening to? And you go back and you go back and you go back and you discover, all the elements of roots music, blues, jazz, country music, all that stuff feeds into what these guys ultimately developed and took and made something else out of.
For you, where do you get your lyrics from then? I mean, is there poetry? Is there literature, or are you finding your lyrics walking down the street and seeing something?
Yeah, well, probably all of the above. But I mean, it's usually what comes to me first is the music, which so I'm not sitting there writing down, lyrics looking for a song. It's usually the opposite. Okay, well, what fits here? So the genesis of a lot of this is two ways. I'm either walking down the street and something hits you, because I think an important thing is rhythm, and rhythm in movement. Whether I find the most fertile ground for writing music for me is walking down the street, moving in a car, movement. So you get some kind of something in your head. So keep those earbuds out of your head, and if you're a musician, just keep listening, because there's a point about I read this as a Bob Dylan quote, and he was referring to well, how do you write your songs? The same kind of thing we're talking about here. He says sometimes you just have to have that antenna up. Yeah, I don't think there's too many songs I wrote that were straight lyric generation. It was always something that had to be tied to whatever melody, rhythm I had in my head. Right. So another source is dreams, and it's if you can capture. Not necessarily music, there's that story of Paul McCartney dreamt yesterday, and I believe that because I've had songs that come to me and you wake up and unfortunately my guitar isn't sitting near me, so I can't, usually they're ethereal, they just disappear. But the lyrics of a particular dream, a dream provided the lyrics essentially because I tried to articulate what it was. Mm-hmm. And songs like Forever 105, which was something where I was just dreaming I was in a bar of no distinct reference, just something that had a lot of familiarity to me, and it was late at night, spent a lot of time in bars, Nick, but it was late.
I really didn't know that, but
yeah, no, you wouldn't know that. That's the thing with song lyrics is that they are, they, for me anyway, they were a reflection of, not being so literal, but being evocative.
What you're saying is when you're direct, you take the mystery out of a lot of the imagery that your audience can hear or see.
Right.
And you take away a lot of their own interpretation.
I think the best art is what what evokes something in you, the person who's looking at it, who's perceiving it, as opposed to being very direct with a message. So lyrics is the same thing. Speaking
of lyrics and not being direct, Cow's Milk Boogie, one of the songs that you sent to me. I'm still going, what is he really saying in this song?
Yeah, well, it was written a long time ago, and I wrote it when I was a much younger man. But I also wrote it from a different situation. So one of the things is I feel like you're right from where your current perspective is. At the time when I was writing that, I was in my 20s. I was writing a song about tearing down the system to some degree because the system was against me at the moment. You write out of emotion. I'm in a place I'd never been before, half open and half empty. A mystery girl on my arm with a face that I'll never know. An old record player spinning in the corner, songs I need so familiar. And every time I look back at the clock, it's forever at 105. I face the night and the coming of the dawn, I'm a persevering soul. But something about these late fall days leaves me feeling so cold. I used to think that time stood still and I never had to wonder. But I'm done with the race, I found a place forever at 105. You find God there, give regards from a wayward son. You find God there, give regards from a wayward son. You find God there, give regards from a wayward son. Forever at 105. Dreams in the middle of the day have occupied my mind, running through a feedback loop where there's no sense of place or time. I met a man with a different face for every different occasion. His last call was yesterday morning, forever at 105. You find God there, give regards from a wayward son. You find God there, give regards from a wayward son. You find God there, give regards from a wayward son. Forever at 105, we're together at 105. It's so good to be alive. One thing is, I'm probably still just as vague. I don't know if that's a psychological thing, whether you just don't want to reveal too much when you're writing, or you just. But I think it has a benefit in that you know, it doesn't all have to be literal. It doesn't all have to be about you. It just has to evoke something. You know, if I hear something that I want to lay down, I'll grab a guitar, lay it down, and then, you know, lyrics will usually come later.
And then what's that? I mean, do you have a phone out, or are you just recording and licks? And
used to be. I try and record. You just sit down with the guitar, play it ad nauseum to myself, and then once I got it down, I'd.
I mean, that's the one big plus about modern technology is that phone as a notebook.
If it's a good idea, and my problem is, of course, you know, I have a phone filled with good idea fragments that never get developed, and but sometimes I do. You know, well, this is worth doing. I mean, we did one recently. You Must Know By Now, which I really like. But to my point about writing stuff, I mean, you know, the reason for writing is just so you can collect your own songs and have a notebook full of songs. It's not much of an incentive. But if you have a band that's going to play them out, well, there's that you know, not only do you have to finish these songs, but you have to rehearse these songs,
right?
And you know, I find, like, you know, with lyrics, it's, you know, the songs are easier to structure. The arrangements to me are the easier part. The lyrics, it comes down to, can I stomach what I'm singing? Does this line in this song make me cringe?
Yeah, to me, that's that self critique is very important. That some people lack.
Yeah.
As composers.
And I also feel like you can overanalyze.
I've seen that part too. Yeah, the needle can go either way, very, very strongly.
There's no greater rock lyric than "Wop bop a loo bop a wop bam bomb." I mean, there isn't, and I'm not probably the only one the first one that said that. So that other tune I sent you, the lyrics anyway, was "Miss the Bus," which is, you know, about an old man, about living alone as an old man whose wife he lost.
We'll have you play it.
Riding that bus since I was 3 years old. Made it through now, I don't feel so bold. Lost my wife in the pestilence. Lost my last bit of common sense. Don't kick up a fuss, I just missed the bus. Early morning, Patriots Day. Thought I'd take a walk. The kids are all grown, they don't call anyway.
more like I should. La da da, la da da, la da da, la da da. La da da, la da da, la da da, la da da. I took everything for granted. Maybe I lost my mind. But wisdom's got a harsh face. Stares right through you. Don't kick up a fuss. I just miss the buzz. Got everything in order. Nothing left untied. Left a note for the neighbors. I won't be stopping by. Don't kick up a fuss. I just miss the buzz. Kick up a fuss, I just miss the buzz. I just miss the buzz. Just miss the buzz.
I remember when you first brought that song out and
Yeah.
recording it for rehearsal and bringing it to Heidi, my wife, and a few other people, and that line, the pestilence, really. I mean, how can you fit the word pestilence in a song? Who would think of the word pestilence in a song? But somehow it fits, and I think that's just it's.
But the second line on that is "lost my last bit of common sense."
Yeah.
So, so the fun thing grabs you and it sounds like, well, and then the whole idea is that, we can't get along without the wives. And that's the whole point of this guy lost his wife. That's pretty obvious in the song. And if the pestilence is, given what the timing and when this thing was written, it had to be about COVID. It's hard to get people's attention when there's not there's no Gertie's Folk City around here. There's no scene. I think these scenes happen organically, and if they don't, they don't. And they're rare. They're more rare than you think. I mean, to get people to listen, the Paseo is a great gig. Well,
I think getting people to listen these days is such a chore, since we are now in a culture of the 30-second video. People are watching reels. People are watching things that are a minute or less.
Right.
And that is such an obstacle when you want to have an original song out there that's going to be 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes long. So I feel like there's a cultural thing that we need to make a readjustment on, like that attention span. And I don't know. I don't know. It's such a big obstacle.
You might be fighting the tide.
Yeah.
You're up against. Look, everybody bemoans the death of the album and all that, but prior to the, mid-60s anyway, it was all singles. it was all just cut, single here, single there. And I would say the 1950s R&B music that came out on 45s was as vibrant as anything that happened in the 60s.
I mean, at this point, I would rather have a culture that wants to listen to a 3-minute song. I mean, there's actually somebody that was sitting with me at a performance, and he was telling me that his kids, during dinner, they play music, but they listen to it at 10, 20-second snippets. They don't finish the song. And as a father, he's like, no, this is like dinner time. We're not playing with our devices here. We're going to put a song on. We're going to finish it. And
that's attention span is just, it's what the phones have done to people's brains. They've rewired the brain. I also think, people aren't going out to hear music anymore. It's just not, maybe we're in the wrong spot. Maybe that's different down the shore. But I mean, live music was always about a good time anyway. It was supposed to be. And it wasn't like everybody, you have to your challenge is to grab them,
Right.
And if you're not grabbing them, then go back and do it again. But you're right. I mean, you're not going to fight that, commercial cover band stuff.
Which is, and I say this all the time when I talk to other musicians about, because I'm on both sides. I am a performer, but I'm also a booking agent. So I understand working with the venues saying, do these people bring people,
Right.
And I understand that there's a level of, there's it's commerce. You're going to walk in there and you need to bring people, you need to make money for the bar, and the best way to do it is to play covers. But my feeling has always been you can do a service to these artists who do originals by just dedicating one night a month, and if it's a night that's off, where let's say it's a Tuesday where not many people are coming in, you just say once a month, let's have original music in here.
Yeah.
I think that will slowly change the culture. I just had this conversation with another venue owner. If you can just have it once a month, maybe you'll be part of that culture change of people complaining there's no good new music, because there is. We just aren't finding the places that would allow it because they think about the cash register first, which is fair.
There's fertile ground here to make something happen, and maybe it's not as like we know Tim at Wet Ticket. Why not have some original music there was the thing, and can still be because he's open to it.
For everybody, Wet Ticket is a brewery here in Rahway, New Jersey, and Tim Pewitt it has been really vital in the music scene for original musicians. Yep.
And Al
as well. And I guess our point is we need more places like that in general. Tim's music series is every other weekend, so he's willing to, take the chance on these original bands. And my point has always been, let's get other venues on board to say, hey, there's a lot of great original musicians out here in New Jersey. Let's dedicate one night out of the week. I mean, I'm not saying there's no venues. It's just not as much as I think it could be. I don't want to say in closing, but I just want your thoughts on just your feeling on like the importance or the need for original music in the area. Anything for anybody who's starting out, like what would you tell them if they want to be an originals band or a performer?
I would say don't be 100% down one road or another. The fact is the covers songs, whether they're popular or nobody's heard them before, inform what you write. So the cross pollination between what you write and what you listen to is very important. So the things that I write can't be anything other than informed by the stuff that I really dig. and that I'm capable of playing. I mean, I love jazz, but I'm not a jazz guitar player. But I love the blues, and I can play around with the blues, and I can write some stuff in that idiom. And but generally, there's nothing wrong with doing a cover. There's nothing wrong with doing a song that is a cover that nobody recognizes, and there's nothing wrong with writing your own stuff. And all that works together. All these bands that you love that made it started out playing covers, and they wrote off of that template, and they created something else. And that you don't start off tabla rasa and write your own stuff. You write from those songs that made you pick up a guitar in the first place. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with doing a set of with those songs in it. But if you're an original artist, I think having that stuff as a template. And not abandoning it and writing your own stuff and making it all of a piece is the way I feel I do it, and makes it rewarding, and that's seems to be all there is to it, really.
Yes, so simple.
Simple.
Just do it tomorrow. Like, grab your guitar.
Or
a ukulele.
Rewrite some chords. Rewrite La Bamba, and you'll have Like a Rolling Stone.
The purpose of this vlog is really to talk about and support original artists looking to write and find venues and change the culture of New Jersey into saying, hey, everybody's complaining about where the new music is, and it's right out there.